fiat? Out front tonight, Reince Priebus, chairman of the Republican National Committee. All right, well, great to have you with us, Reince. Imperial, is that fair or way too strong? Hyperbole?
Well, first of all, welcome back and
thank you.
And blessings on the new baby boy.
Thank you.
I'm just exciting, and having two of my own, I know how great it is to be a parent. So congratulations.
Well, thank you.
You know what? I think Ted Cruz has got a point. You know, here's the thing. This president last night really offered nothing up other than old crumbs on old silverware, old dishes. I mean, it was the same old thing. But here's what I take on this sort of go-it-alone strategy. If you really peel back the onion, he made two big promises in regard to this new strategy. The first one was he was going to cut the red tape on bridges and waterways. Red tape's not the problem, Aaron. The problem is there's no money. The next thing he said is going to increase the wages of federal contractors to $10.10 an hour. Almost all of them make more than $10.10 an hour. But number two, his program wouldn't take effect until 2015, and it wouldn't apply to any current contracts. I mean, it's a nothing burger. This whole thing is nothing. And actually, it's pretty sad because State of the Union should be a big day, but it was just a big nothing.
Wow, so it's interesting. So you're making the case that the things that he's doing aren't really that important. You're not actually picking a fight with him for doing it, which is actually, Reince, pretty smart of you. I'm sure you looked at the stats, too. The president signed 167 executive orders, far fewer than any other two-term president at this point. President George W. Bush, 197. President Ronald Reagan, 256. So if he's imperial, they must have been dictatorial.
But to Ted Cruz's point, now I support what Ted Cruz is saying. I mean, to his point, he has done things in the past that have fundamentally altered bills, like look at the Obamacare bill. I mean, the fact that he and his administration gave a waiver to employers has created a complete catastrophe on just the way that Obamacare can be enforced and the way that the actuaries thought that it would work. And so he's not just doing little things that are meaningless and trying to tell the American people that they're really important. He's also doing big things that he shouldn't be able to do that I think are problematic. So I think you got both.
So I was watching last night, and it's interesting what you say. And I mean, I know your job as head of the RNC is to not say anything bad about anybody in particular in your party. But after the speech, I have to admit I got a little confused, and I was like, well, maybe it's because I've been away. But the GOP rebuttals, I use the plural, of course, Reince, there were four. Kathy McMorris, of course, gave the official response. Then there was the Spanish language response, the Tea Party response, and then there was the Rand Paul response. I'm just going to call it the Rand Paul response. All right, that does not seem like a big tent party. That seems like a party that doesn't know who the heck is in charge. It seems leaderless.
Well, I think that's a pretty silly comment, and I know it's your first day back, but I would tell you that there was probably 300 responses. Because there was probably 300 responses yesterday. Every member of Congress, I mean, you say Rand Paul gave a response. I would imagine almost every senator gave some kind of response yesterday. I gave a response yesterday. You didn't put my name in there. I know that our studio where I'm talking to you was busy all day yesterday with different members and senators giving responses to the State of the Union address. So, I mean, look, the Tea Party Express running their website gave a response, and Mike Lee was gracious enough to give that response. My guess is that you have all kinds of groups on both sides of the aisle that have guest responders on their show as part of their production. You have responses on CNN after the show. I mean, this is just, it's ridiculous.
But doesn't a party usually come up with
Kathy McMorris Rogers was the responder, and she gave the official response.
But official response, and then there's all these other splinters. I mean, I'm not the only silly one. At least I'm not alone.
Every member of Congress is in the studio giving a response.
Right,
Rand
but
Paul, I guarantee you, is not the only senator giving a response.
I hear your point. But McKay Coppins of BuzzFeed framed it this way. He said conservatives are competing for airtime.
I don't care how McKay Coppins framed it.
All right, but
I'm just telling you what the truth is.
All right, and I hear your point. But what he said was the latest flare-up in the GOP civil war isn't about ideology. It's about publicity. It does fan the flames of a party, though, Reince, it doesn't have a voice. I mean, you're saying there's one person, and she put out the official response. But clearly, you don't have a lot of people behind her. There's a lot of people fighting to say, no, the GOP is this or it's that. And if you have that fight going on, how do you win the White House?
I don't think there's a whole lot of people that are tuned in to anything to that magnitude. I think what you have in politics and in this country are people that are tuning in to different channels and different voices that they want to hear. I think it's great that Mike Lee did the response on the Tea Party Express website. And know what he talked about? He talked about Republican ideas and how this president wasn't fulfilling the promises that he made to the American people. That's a net win for the Republican Party. I don't see it as a loss at all. I think that we need to build our party by promoting different voices in our party so that we can come together and win. And you know what? With all these red states coming up in these Senate races where the president is at about a 30% approval rating, we're going to have an incredible year this year.
All right. Well, we'll be talking to you throughout. Thank you very much, Reince, as always.
Okay, Aaron. Welcome back.
Yeah.
That's 2 tough interviews in a row now. You got to keep this up.
All right. Good to see you.